think, so we become, is a common statement that we very often hear. Whatever company we keep, we become very often like that company. But apply this principle at a deeper level, that whatever we adore, whatever we worship, whatever we admire, is what we eventually strive for, or we say we reached, or we become. In the same way, when from the infinite universe, the infinite Lord, you say infinite nature, infinite potential, or even from the source of infinite knowledge, when we think of it as something great, but only up till our thinking capacity, then what we admire or even what we are striving for will only be up to that limit. So, if you take that principle and apply that, even if you worship God as with the notion of God being finite and limited, or one God from another God, or God who can only give you passing of examination without studies, Ganesha. It is to make even Ganesha into a limited power. And mind you, whatever you invoke means whatever you think, that much only you are going to get. If your goal is heaven, all the efforts you will put in is only to attain heaven. Is it not? Now suppose you are even coming here to Chetpet to go to the shopping mall. Yeah, there is sacred knowledge available here. But where will you go? You drive, go through all the traffic, everything, the same difficulty that all of you may have gone through, that other person also goes through. But what does that person get? The same way, the principle is that if you worship a limited power, now this is not that any other than Krishna is a Devata, and different translations are given, but I'm sure by now all of you understand. It's not a particular deity of the form, because Krishna himself said that I am that who pervades the entire universe. I am the very sapidity in water. I am the very dharma behind everything. I am the existence, consciousness, bliss. And that is the existence, consciousness, bliss which is there in Ganesh also, which is there in Shiva also, which is there in Devi also. Is it not? Therefore, all of them call them as Satchidananda only. Is it not? Same way, Ved Vyasa very beautifully pointed out that whether you worship the Lord in the form of Shiva, but do not forget his main nature as Satchidananda Brahma. You worship Krishna, but if even Krishna you think as one of the deities, you are only invoking a Devata, a limited power out of him. So Devata must be understood as limited power. Again, when we do all these elaborate worships in the temple, what are we asking the Lord? Only something finite or limited. There's a story about a very good dancer, and olden times these dancers sometimes to earn income, we're not talking about cultural dancers, they should dance in front of people, make money. For some people it was that. When she got her daughter, she brought her daughter with all the talent that she knew, made her grow very beautifully, but she kept her away from the eyes of all men. By the time her friends and all had reached their, adulthood, and they were all exposed to the world of appreciation of men, and they were getting all the recognition. Naturally, as a young girl, she said, can I go out? Because that's a profession only they know. Can I go out? She said, no. You are not going to dance for any ordinary person. You will dance only for the king. Many men came throwing purses of gold to the mother that, let us just see one dance of your daughter. But she refused. Till finally the news spread that there is this girl who will only dance for the king. King came to know, so he invited her for the dance. And the mother said, now, everything that I've taught you, everything that I've brought you up with, because if you dance for these lusty eyes of these men, all you will get is some jewels, some riches, but they'll be limited. Dance for the king so that for once your life is made, you don't have to dance again. But dance in such a way that you please the king. And the way she danced, and the whole world saw it, the whole city saw, and the king was so pleased that even all the rich people, what purses they bought, he just took out his jewels and he kept on throwing at her. But she continued to dance. At the end of the dance, he said, I'm so pleased with you. Ask me of anything, ask me land, ask me anything, any riches, I will give it to you. Then the mother smiled and said, now daughter, now you ask. But the daughter was wiser than the mother also. When she saw the king is so benevolent that he is ready to give her as much as riches as she wants, then the king says, ask me anything. She says, I want you. She became the queen. The whole thing to understand is that if we go to God and we ask for a few millions, billions, or things, and He can give us that, why not ask for Him only? In the highest sense, that is called as ananyata. Real meaning of ananyata means that other than the Lord, I want nothing and no one. Otherwise, we make Lord the means to be our servant or giver to us to gain something finite. We take the infinite for something which is finite. Therefore, know the Lord's full glory. That's why in the beginning of the chapter, the infinitude of the Lord is pointed out. And now, that infinite Lord in whose infinitude we are an insignificant speck of a speck. Yet, everything is Him only. Everything is from Him only. Even though it is just one hair on your body, but if somebody plucks it, you have as much feeling for that hair than you have for your nose, is it not? And as much feeling that you have for your nose, you have for your heart. And as much feeling as you have for your heart, which is so important, you have even for your one hair. Which of course, if it's on the eyebrows, you don't mind it being removed. Is it not? Now to point out that infinite Lord, the highest goal that anyone can reach and can discover, in which everything exists, including the riches of the universe, and all that we get out of it is asking that Lord is only this much. When you want anything other than the Lord, it is not ananya bhakti. Then you say, but what about the other things? After all, I have to live my life. Bhagavan says, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. After all, anyway, who's looking after it? Shankaracharya to write in the commentary. He said, anyway, Bhagavan is only giving everything. You think you are looking after your children? Who knows their destiny? You are being fed. Ravan thought that he was feeding Vibhishan. Vibhishan left, Ravan lost everything. Sometimes by whose destiny, who is living? Is it not? And people worry as to, who will look after, who will look after our family, all the time. It doesn't mean that thinking about the Lord, you should not do your work. It does not come in terms of our work. But we think that our work gives us all the happiness and Lord is only when you've got problems. Then you've not understood what is bhakti, what is devotion, what is love. We have to understand that Supreme from whom we all have come cannot but be the self of everyone, and love for the self is natural. Therefore, even though they are not in me and I am not in them, sounds a very detached, infinite, abstract. People think that's why, But Bhagavan points out that I have the most intimate relationship with you. Because anybody in this world can be close to you, but I am the closest to you. Your very self. So how can I not love you? And now you find the expression of Bhagavan's love. That's why Bhagavan says, those who worship wealth, they will get wealth. Those who worship heaven will get, Devatas will get the world of the Devatas, will get heaven. Those who worship, adore their family, they will have a happy family, a nice family. Pitrulok, don't understand only Pitrulok, when you die you go there. You'll have good parents, next life you'll get good parents, and you have to have parents, I tell you, even at any old age, even if you have to look after them, the sheer thought that your parents are still alive at any age, you know how comforting it is? And those parents we neglect. But if you worship those parents, you adore the parents, you look after those parents, you will have the benefit of having their blessings and the sheer feeling of security, even if you are 80 and your father is 100. I met people like that, Sometimes I tell them, Arey, why are you still holding on? If he has to go, not that you end, but if he has to go, no, at 100 also, my father should not die. It's such a good thought because it's so comforting. Therefore, Bhagavan says, those who worship the Pitras, they get the benefit of Pitralok. The culture, the grandchildren will also learn so much from the grandparents. If you understand it socially like this, then this whole verses have got so much greater significance than asking question, Acha, there is Pitralok, is there heaven, is there not heaven? Unnecessarily wastage of time asking this question. If the Shastras say it is there. But even in this life, if you seek a world of pleasures, you will get a world of pleasures. You put in your efforts, you invoke the divine blessings, even that you will get. But what we are invoking is only a limited divine blessing, not the full. And yet to get those finite things, how much effort we put in to invoke these devatas of the senses for sheer temporary pleasures. Kashine punya matya lokam vishanti. Don't only think by heaven you fall down. Any pleasures you enjoy for some time, and after that you are back to what we call normal. And what is normal these days? Sad. Does it happen or not? And yet, to please the infinite Lord, to get heaven, or even in this world to go and see a movie, how much do you have to spend? 500 upfront. For spiritual knowledge, no upfront, no. Is it not? and more entertainment, more enjoyment. Is it not? What I'm saying is that Lord is available freely. But the sad part is no demand. Therefore now Bhagavan points out, array, to get all these pleasures or heaven, people have to do such, you think heaven, you say, I'm just good, I'll get heaven. No. Vedas clearly say, if you want Swargalok or even Pitrulok, hell you will easily get, because we are quite fit for that. But to get Swargalok and all that, you have to do some elaborate rituals, duties, charities, or give your life for your country and all that, then you get Swargalok. Please don't think that, acha mar gaya, Swarg chala gaya. Swargalok is. Swargavasi ho gaya. They say, don't think like that. Everybody dies, doesn't go to heaven. It's just we are being optimistic. I'm very good, I will get heaven. Nothing doing. You have to do a lot to get heaven. But what is Bhagavan trying to say? Even to get this temporary world of heaven, where even life is so long, so much effort you have to put in. But to win the grace of someone who already loves you so much and ready to give of himself or herself to you completely, what have you to do? Just express that you love. Is it not? Now comes a beautiful verse that to please the Lord, what really do we have to do? And Bhagavan says,
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Tadaham bhaktyupahritam. Ashnami prayatatmanah.
Ashnami prayatatmanah. Very, very famous words of the Bhagavad Gita. Where Bhagavan says, Patram, a mere leaf. Pushpam, flowers. These days you can't even say flowers. Flowers are very expensive. And everybody goes to somebody else's garden, plucks it and puts it very gracefully. I'm telling you, people used to come to the ashram, go to the garden of the ashram, pluck and come and offer to Gurudev. And used to know it's the garden's flowers. Even that much we won't even go and buy or grow a plant for it, is it not? So Bhagavan says not even pushpam. Phalam these days are very expensive, especially for being a mango. Oh. Phalam. Acha. At least a leaf. And if nothing is needed, at least water. Toyam. Even just sheer water. And therefore we hear the life of so many devotees. Whether you hear about Kanapan, whether you hear on the Shivratri, all those, the hunter, you hear the stories. What did they offer the Lord and what did they get? I mean, I could go endlessly on the stories which are so touching to just give you the faith that that's all that is needed. But that is not that that's all that we should do. People eat all halwa puri at home, kesari at home, but like kuchela, they will only offer because Bhagavan likes only dry pova. That is not the meaning. The story of Patram is very beautifully because the next line is what is to be understood. Yeah? Tadaham bhakti upahritam. That which has been offered to me with bhakti, then even if it is just a leaf. Gurudev used to give one very beautiful example. He's just got married, but he's been called on a very important conference to Europe, and it's the first year of marriage. soon after marriage, he's been called, and he is on his way in transit in Frankfurt. He doesn't have much money in his pocket. He goes to this shop. There's this old lady standing there, and he looks for this. This is also expensive. This is for expensive. Everything in francs, and this is expensive. So finally, she says, "What are you looking for?" He said, "I'm looking for something. This is my 1 month anniversary, and I'm looking something for my wife." So she said, "How much do you have?" He said, "Only $2. What can I get?" So she sees one pin. She says, "You can only get this pin with a paper flower for $2, but I will pack it nicely for you." So she packs it nicely for him, and in between the two flights, he rushes back, and when he gets down from the airport, she's waiting for him. If it was 20 years after marriage, catch a taxi and come. But she's waiting for him there. And from the immigration, they are opening his bag, and he's looking out, he's trying to wave out to her, And then when he comes out, they meet with a hug. And then he says, "Happy anniversary, darling." He takes out that, and she opens it, one hairpin with a paper flower. And she's in tears. "You remembered?" In between the two, of course, after 20 years of marriage.